Welcome back to Two Therapists Walk Into a Podcast. I'm Stephanie Etzel, an LCSW here in Salt Lake City, Utah.
And I'm Robin Green, a LCSW here in Tucson, Arizona. Hi.
Hello. This is a mini episode, an extension of our last conversation on uncertainty as a baseline. Today we're talking about what happens when symptoms flare without warning. When the shift feels abrupt enough to knock the wind out of your plans, your stomach drops, your chest tightens, and the day you thought you were stepping into suddenly feels unstable.
And I do think there's a particular kind of destabilization that happens when a flare hits. I don't think it's just physical at all. It can ripple through plans, momentum, and even your sense of progress. So in that sense, it's not just physical, it's relational. It interrupts plans, it disrupts that momentum, and it can also really challenge your sense of progress. You might think I was doing so much better, or I thought I had this handled. And then underneath that is often something quieter, that fear that you're back at the beginning again, thinking that nothing helped, nothing
changed, right?
Yeah, there's no progress.
Well, I mean, don't you think that a flare could probably feel a lot like regression, right?
Sure, yeah.
Well, we know it's not. It's just what's being disrupted isn't just your body. It's that sense of predictability. And when predictability drops suddenly, the nervous system responds quickly. That's what it's supposed to do. When something shifts abruptly in the body, the brain looks for cause. It wants an explanation. It's almost like raring to fight, like who's in charge here? Whose fault is this? Why is this happening? It wants something you did wrong because causality restores control. Predictability, even if it includes self-blame, often feels safer to the brain than randomness or the unknown, because a known mistake feels more manageable than that unknown variable. If there's a mistake, then there's a fix.
Right. I like that. And not all flares are moral. They can be cyclical, hormonal, immune variability, stress accumulation, environmental shifts. Sometimes the body fluctuates, and when the mind can't find a clean explanation, it often turns inward. What did I miss? What did I do? That internal interrogation adds a second layer of stress on top of the physical shift.
Here's our nervous system nugget for today. A flare is not regression, it's fluctuation. When the nervous system senses loss of control, it increases activation. Heart rate rises. Muscles tighten. Thoughts narrow. Catastrophizing becomes more accessible. Now you're not just navigating symptoms. You're navigating the nervous system's response to the symptoms. Naming that can interrupt the spiral. When you name it, you begin bringing the prefrontal cortex back online, widening perspective and softening the nervous system's urgency.
When I used to work in residential treatment, we used to say, name it to tame it. Name it to tame it. And
exactly.
That could be a little easier way to remember too.
I think that I've used that often in clinical settings. If you can name it, you can tame it. And the brain loves the info. Once it's got data, it can release its stranglehold.
That's so true. And when a flare hits, we suggest something simple. Orient, name, and settle. First, orient. Look around and find 3 stable objects. Something solid, something that's not moving. Stability outside before trying to stabilize inside. And secondly, name. This is a flare. Not going into, I ruined everything, not that I'm failing, just this is a flare, being as factual as possible. Third, settle. Lower expectations for the next 24 hours. Reduce your output. Increase predictability where you can. Create that containment, not correction. And that containment might look like canceling one non-essential thing, keeping one steady ritual, or choosing rest without turning it into a verdict about your character.
Goodness, that's an amazing line right there. I love that. Because how often I think we're doing that, right?
No, yeah.
Ugh. It's like a currency to punish ourselves. I don't know.
I know it. I know.
Well, bodies fluctuate. It's biology, okay? So capacity is probably going to fluctuate. Responding proportionally helps the nervous system reset and recalibrate so you have an appropriate response instead of the reaction.
And if you've experienced a flare recently, this isn't a sign that you've lost progress. It is a moment that requires steadiness, not self-critique.
In our next episode, we'll continue building from here. And remember, healing isn't linear, and we're here for the ride. This podcast is for educational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for therapy, medical care, or professional advice.
Listening to this podcast or this episode does not create a therapeutic, clinical, or professional relationship with us.
If you're experiencing distress, physical symptoms, or emotional concerns that feel overwhelming, we both encourage you to seek support from a qualified healthcare or mental health professional.
And if you are in immediate danger or need urgent support, please contact local emergency services or a crisis line in your area.